Hey guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect. Right? Right, let's go again. Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. My name's Liam. I'm joined as always by Jack.
What up?
And today we're doing something a little different. So usually if you look at our thumbnails, we'll be having red and blue butterflies, but today we've gone for the yellow one, and that essentially means a bonus episode. So a little new series we're trying out. It's called Reddit Reacts. So yeah, we're going to give it a crack for today. Jack, what is Reddit Reacts?
So we've obviously got an account on Reddit and we like to sort of see what the community thinks on certain topics. And topic today is actually sort of inspired by a previous video, like our Seven Deadly Sins episode. And I think like our biggest critique of the Dark Pictures game so far is perhaps for us completionists, when you complete the game, you want to go get all the achievements. Maybe you should be introducing a skip cutscenes section. So for me personally, I'm firmly behind this idea because frankly, I'm just lazy. I just want to get all of the achievements and move on. It was the same for you, wasn't it, mate?
Uh, yeah, definitely. I think yeah, if you know what, I'm just going to cut that out because I'm not having more. Yeah, definitely. For me, it's definitely the same. I would say yes. However, maybe I would introduce something such as you unlock the ability to skip cutscenes after playing the game once, completing the game for the first time, and then maybe introducing something like that. But honestly, so we were both saying, weren't we, that we thought the result was going to be a slam dunk yes. So as you can see, a lot of you voted, and we really do appreciate that. I'm actually very overwhelmed by how many people responded to this. But yeah, so we've got 180 for yes, 146 for no, and 222 for maybe just add faster walking pace. So Jack, what is your reaction to that?
Completely surprised. Completely surprised. Like, as I said before, we're both like firm yeses. The fact that there's nearly as many no's in there struck a chord with me. Maybe the faster walking pace one, fair enough. It's sort of like a compromise, if you will. Actually, the comment section's really interesting as well because there's some other suggestions that were put forward as well. And the first one I'm going to cover is from Azetlaw146, and they said, now I think what they should do is instead of skipping cutscenes point blank, I think that if you press a certain button during a dialogue, it will skip a line, so that way it won't cut out a huge portion of the game. You know what? That probably is a fair comment, and it actually, considering we've recently played 12 minutes, mate. Obviously, a game where there's a time loop and you can skip the dialogue. Do you think that's a fair compromise for this? If you were to go into the Devil in Me and you saw that, would that be something you'd like?
I really do because, for example, someone who really likes immersing myself in these games, first playthrough, I wouldn't dream of skipping the cutscenes or the dialogue. I really want to know every piece of information. But one of the points we mentioned in our previous video is the fact that when we go back and we're there for achievement hunting or trophy hunting, it is such a bore to sit through the entire game, especially with these new Dark Picture Anthology games where you really have to have multiple playthroughs. I don't know what the minimum playthrough requirement is. I think you've got to complete the game 5-6 times, maybe even more, in order to get the platinum. And I just think it's just too much of an ask for me to, have to sit through the entire game and listen to every bit of dialogue when I've already heard it and I already know what happens. So the idea I pitched before, where maybe you unlock the ability to skip the dialogue when you've completed the game once. But honestly, one of the other answers you put is faster walking pace. As much as I would like that, I do think maybe dialogue skips is the way forward. Like you say in 12 minutes, where you could just keep spamming X like we used to have in the odd PS2 style games. That way, we're, fastening the game. And I do agree with some of the points, because if you don't mind if I skip ahead, Muse for Games has commented here. And he's in the no camp, I'm guessing. So he said, skip cutscenes, you'll cut more than half the game. And I almost do get the point, and it is a valid reason. I do get why people are saying no here, because if you was to skip cutscenes, it would be really interesting to see how short these games are. Admittedly, a big part of it is walking. Like when we play Until Dawn, there's a lot of walking around the sanatorium, House of Ashes. I'm pretty sure a big portion of that is just walking through corridors and stuff. But yeah, the skipping dialogue, I think it's. I've been a little swayed by stuff that Astalor146 has said, but yeah, I think that's probably the best answer, mate. To be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So then moving forward to another comment from Monster Z, comes back and says that doesn't make sense because the cutscenes always change depending on your choices. Now, I suppose I should have clarified this point earlier before I did the poll, but what I'd probably say to that is that you've completed a playthrough, you've finished the game, you unlock the ability to skip cutscenes. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to skip the cutscene. It would purely be there as an option. So, of course, there are some cutscenes that are there every time in the game, and you sort of sit there for 2 or 3 minutes having to watch it. And you know, although it would be quite jarring just skipping forward and cutting a big chunk of the game out, the fact is, as a completionist, you are solely there to get the achievements, and 9 times out of 10 you're looking on YouTube and Google anyway, so you've probably got an idea of what happens in the cutscene that you ultimately want to see. So for me, yeah, like that, I'm definitely not in agreement with the people that voted no. Like I do think that there needs to be some sort of change, but not necessarily, it's compulsory to skip the cutscenes.
Yeah, it is true. I think I really get the point about you can't fully say yes because you'll just cut the game like right down. But I do still agree with our points where it surely can't be no, and I think that's why these compromises seem really interesting. I see someone here before mentioned the idea of like fast forwarding dialogue, perhaps, which I have seen in a few games. But still mentioning Eric here, so he replied to you when we did the comments afterwards, and he mentioned that surely it would be too easy to get trophies. So to play devil's advocate here, Jack, do you think that possibly maybe it would be too easy, and maybe we're just very lazy people?
I think, yeah, it would be too easy, but I quite like that. I suppose this is just where your personal preference comes into it. I don't even mind it, the Walking Dead games, where you get an achievement at the end of each episode, and that's it. I don't know. For me, there's just something about seeing 100% next to a game that's really satisfying, and it's equally annoying when you see like an 80%, an 85%, and then you've got these sort of achievements that can be a complete ball ache to get. I think Enticey Vicey is on a similar wavelength because he says it won't make trophies easier, just less tedious. I'm completely in that camp. So I do understand the point of view of others, like wholeheartedly, but I think at this point I'm very much a fully commit to one playthrough person, and then after that it's very much just picking up the remaining pieces, the remaining scenes, to see what the other choices are.
I really get that, Jack. Also, something that I would raise as well to defend our point is the thing I mentioned earlier. If you're giving a Stonewall no to me, are you expecting me to really play Little Hope, for example, 8 times back to back, having to walk down those roads, not able to skip dialogue when I know what happens? Surely I understand the argument for before, but when I'm playing my 8th playthrough, do I really need to sit there and listen to every single part? But the thing you mentioned about the trophies, I like a challenge, don't get me wrong. I just don't think challenging should be tedious. For example, some of the platinums I have, LA Noire and Fallout 4, I feel really rewarded for, but they were really enjoyable when I, got them. They're all varied up. These games are story driven, but it also means there is a risky strategy by throwing trophies out there which are for, getting different parts, because it can be really tedious at times. But yeah, I'll just move on to another comment. If the ODEF intro and ending credits are skippable, it would be nice if Supermassive Games can implement on the cutscenes, which is a really interesting point, because what Mystical Star has said here is that they are capable of doing this within the engine. So, Jack, why do you think it is that they're not letting us do it in the game?
I suppose it is because that I know. I mean, maybe they are concerned with the gamer and sort of the getting value for money in terms of the amount of hours and that you put into it. Because even the whole dialogue idea. I'm thinking back now. There are certain trophies or certain moments in the game where it could be the odd line. I think back to your run through of House of Ashes where you chose to shoot the civilian, right? And Salim saw you, and then later on, Salim says something like, "Oh yeah, like I'm surprised you haven't shot me in the back," or something like that. And even that would be missed, and that's just a little line to sort of referring back to a choice that you made earlier. And you know what, like they if they do take a break after season one, and they've always been open to like making changes, haven't they? Like they've already made changes within existing canon. So you know what, it's not actually even that stretch of the imagination to think that maybe skip cutscenes could come into it, even if it was just a bonus unlockable feature that you can go through the menu and sort of activate.
Yeah, that could easily happen. And like you mentioned, they do welcome change. Like we got the movie mode, for example, so surely they can do this. At the end here, we've got Stuart, the Little Hope fan, who says, the cutscenes show pictures for future games, so I don't skip them. Now I'm going to go ahead and think this guy means the totems or the pictures, so I think Stuart's a little confused here. We don't mean skipping those. I think we mean skipping like the dialogue and cutscenes in general, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, because otherwise, yeah, you would miss out on little Easter eggs and things like that for future games. And even then, it's only one picture that reveals a future game. So
yeah, that's it. And my favourite comment, and it's the point I wholeheartedly agree with, is Dark Crow, who says, and you know what, Dark Crow, you're right. You know what, you've swayed my opinion. I completely agree
yeah,
with you. So yeah.
yeah, thanks for the contribution, man. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. But honestly, just to mention again before we end this video, I am very overwhelmed with the response because, this is... Reddit is quite a popular avenue, it seems to be, but I'm not even going to do the maths here because I don't want to embarrass myself, but that's like, around the 500 mark. That's insane how many people voted. And yeah, I just want to throw out my appreciation for you guys.
yeah, it really is. And obviously, like it might be a long shot, but if this video was to somehow find its way to Supermassive Games, they could see the statistics for themselves, and it might encourage them to make a change here or there. We don't know. So it is good to sort of see these opinions. Like I say, completely surprised, but on reflection, I do understand that perhaps a compromise would sort of cater to all parties.
Yeah, I agree because I was very much in the yes camp, but I have heard a few of the no's, and you know what? I am a little bit more swayed. I think you can't just fully skip them, perhaps. Maybe it becomes an unlockable feature, or you can just skip dialogue through each, one you do. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you everyone for the contributions again, apart from you, Data Crow. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.
Catch you later.